srbradio.com. The words and opinions you are about to hear are of the hosts and do not reflect the management, sponsors, or affiliates of K Radio Broadcasting.
The views and opinions expressed by our show hosts do not necessarily reflect that of Sports Radio Detroit or its sponsors.
Marvin, what do you make of all this?
Man, I don't even have an opinion.
Well, you gotta have an opinion.
Hey, very exciting stuff. I think we're pretty much ready to go here with this podcast.
What the hell is a podcast? I mean, why don't you just tape it? What are you doing?
You don't have to tape it these days, Frank. You just record it right on the computer.
And once we start recording, Frank, we need you to stop eating those crackers. It's incredibly annoying, and it's all anyone's going to be able to hear.
Dead air.
Could you ease up on the crackers?
I'm getting bored with this. I'm going to bring my guest in.
You're listening to the SRD Roadshow on SportsRadioDetroit.com.
Who's I'm listening to? They said
it's like one of the lowest.
The relief pitcher from Washington.
Sean Doolittle?
Are we live?
Yeah,
if you can't tell, the Roadshow is live in progress.
Oh, okay.
we already started the show, even though there's
we're just going beforehand. Ben is back from playing poker in the
Kalamazoo area.
I was just gonna say the zoo. I was gonna say the zoos of Kalamazoo, but
yes,
yeah,
the zoos of You're back from Dallas.
Yeah, Dallas was interesting, and Rayvon traveled to Chicago and Wisconsin, correct?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, you did the I-94 tour.
Yeah.
There we go.
We're a group of vagabonds. Where have you been this week, huh, Pro? Have you been anywhere?
Krogering.
Okay.
By the way, so I met up with Rayvon, Eric, and E this morning. Talked some shop. Rayvon, that song "Unwritten." Are you guys familiar with that song "Unwritten" by Natasha Bedingfield?
Feel the rain.
Yeah. That song that's played.
No,
yeah, that played.
I do not.
You never. You when you hear it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So, good morning, Jamie. Have you been anywhere this week? By the way,
Work.
Okay.
Such an odd question. Have you been anywhere this week?
It's like that commercial. It's 11:30. Do you know where your kids are?
Yeah.
Way to rub in the fact that I haven't got to do anything fun this week.
That's all of us.
Yeah, we're working. I guess I don't consider work. I mean,
I placed second in a euchre tournament this week. All right.
There you go. You familiar with this, Ben? You know the song.
Oh, I know this song. Yeah.
All right.
Doesn't it make you want to go?
This is going to be muted on Facebook later.
Yeah, and that's fine. That's perfectly
it's
fine.
okay.
It's okay because this song is the most overplayed song of all time. But Rayvon goes.
Hype, though.
It is.
Well, it was Rayvon Soren. I hate this song.
Stocking shelves.
Yeah. And Rayvon comes with a joke. He goes,
"We've killed Roger already." It's 4 minutes into the Roadshow.
This is my favorite song when I go to Kroger, and I'm paraphrasing it now, but it was because it's always on at Kroger. He's absolutely right, and I just
trust me, I know.
Yeah, I would say pros like
I can tell you verbatim every commercial that comes on as it comes on, like.
That's
word
bad.
for word.
That is bad.
Do you just start mouthing the words as you're like doing your job?
Mm-hmm.
Someone just looks at you, you just make eye contact, and you keep mouthing the words to make it awkward.
You can get a book of stamps there, and it's the same price as a post office. You can save yourself a lot of time and another.
That is true.
Yeah, but so we're live on
Facebook. I know that one.
So we're live on Facebook Live, and of course on SportsRadioDetroit.com.
Yes.
So, CRBRadio.com, and you can listen to the podcast on demand, of course, and. Thank you for everybody who's listening. Our numbers have gone up. And speaking of numbers, by the way, you can still vote for the Detroit favorite personality contest. Voting ends on Sunday at midnight. Yesterday set a new site record for most hits on the site one day.
Wow.
So it is. Yeah, it was one day. And I'll go over numbers with people off air, but let's just say it's. There's a lot of controversy too because it was interesting. Allison Martinick fans have never heard of Trudy Daniels, and Trudy Daniels fans have never heard of Allison Martinick.
What?
You know what?
They're one of the most biggest names in the market.
Honestly, Ben.
What is this?
I asked Eric. Go ahead. What, Jamie?
Is it that they didn't really hear about it, or are they throwing some subtle shade like, oh, who's she?
No. Like legit. Like I got the impression they legitimately never heard of it because I asked Eric this morning if he ever heard of Trudy Daniels. He said he heard the name, and then Jeremy looked at him like, "What? Are you crazy?" And Allison Martinick is in, I think, a niche fan base, and her fan base is strong. Allison has written a book, which I did not know about. So I can understand the difference because those two people are very loyal to the morning shows here.
Very loyal.
Very loyal to a certain extent where they don't listen to anything else. So I get the contrast there. But you got to go to our website, sportsradiodetroit.com. Vote. You have till tomorrow, till midnight. Thank you for everybody who has voted or participated or is sharing any type of content with it. We really, really appreciate it. And, so big week in sports, though. A lot of interesting things going on in the world of from the NBA to baseball. Some of the values came out of the Forbes list I wanted to touch base about as well.
Can I say something that will piss you off?
What?
Tigers battling for first place, baby! It's all, yeah. See, the look on Roger's face. He's like, "You're an idiot. You're an idiot."
I know.
You have to be happy about it when you can, though, because it's not going to happen much this season. So you got to take them when they come.
It's gonna go down hard.
It was just like Pap at the beginning of the Pistons.
But I don't want the Tigers to win. They're so far deep. What do you mean? The Pistons made the playoffs, bud. You know they're playing tomorrow.
But I mean,
the season's over and they're still playing. Isn't that the whole point? Isn't that what I said would happen? And isn't that what's happening? Mike, I'm asking these questions. Am I wrong?
We were.
Mike, no. You're voting the questions. I want a yes or a no. Am I wrong?
Are they third?
Am I wrong?
Are they third?
Oh, who said that they were going to be third? Who said their ceiling was going to be fifth and that they would definitely make the playoffs? But you still haven't answered my question. Who made the playoffs, Mike?
You just said it.
Mike, who made the playoffs?
You just said it.
Mike! See what I have to deal with? Even when I'm right, he won't tell me I'm right.
I was just talking it up because you were.
He was talking it up because he's so wrong and he can't handle it.
How do we not have a show called Two Mics?
I knew they were
just have you guys do this all day.
I said they were going to make the playoffs.
No, you didn't. You said, there's no way in hell they're going to make the playoffs. You said that. You said that Blake Griffin wouldn't play the whole season. All this Blue Kennard sucks. All this stuff.
Seriously, how do we not have a show every day called Two Mics where they just do this back and forth?
You missed the Chris Webber conversation, Ben, where Mike and I.
Which one?
He said Chris Webber called the time on purpose.
I saw that.
And we went back and forth.
Well, he's contended that forever.
Yeah, but I went off. And then Papchek was the one kind of fueling the fire a little bit, too, on that. But
they just thought it was out of the realm of possibility.
No, that's definitely not what happened. If you want to know, you can go listen to our previous show.
Thank you. Okay, so there's plenty to get to. That's why you bring up bullshit.
Good old good old Roadshow.
So plenty of ramble moments. But there's a couple.
These were interesting.
Yes, especially the.
I didn't want to add the WikiLeaks thing on there, even though I was thinking about it, only for the fact of one of the reasons why he got caught at the embassy is because they hated his music and his cat. Like, what a dumb way to get yourself arrested. Because he wouldn't clean up after his cat, and they hated the music he played.
Wait, what are you talking about? Which story?
Julian Assange.
Oh, okay.
Like, bruh.
It's okay. If you avoid that type of news, I understand it. And if you don't, I understand that as well. And if that's all you read, I'm sorry. There's other no.
The story that was interesting was the accusing of $300 worth of household goods from the Kmart.
Yes,
but rich people are cheaper than cheap people. I could say that with certainty because case in point, I see this happen very often where we'll give a tchotchke away at a promotional event. And they have money, and then they just take 3 or 4 of them for no reason other than just have 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah. Well, also being a rich person yourself, you can can totally.
I find it ironic that.
So what's the story, Roger? Set it up for us.
Yeah, I'm rich with goodness. Apparently, I don't know. So Andrew Lippy was accused of stealing about $300 worth of household good items from a Kmart in Key West. First of all, I thought all Kmarts were closed. So.
I was going to say that.
So he purchased Thompson Island, which is a private estate that was owned by a former developer, Edward Knight, for $8 million. So he had his own island, and he also owns a 12-bedroom resort in Key West that MTV used to use for Real World. So the rent there a night is $1,800. So this guy's got money. He stole some LED bulbs, $55, a $55 Hamilton Beach coffee maker, which is kind of a second-run coffee maker in terms of coffee makers you could spend money on.
So not a Keurig?
Nope, exactly. Also,
it's basically a step up from Chef Mate, and Chef Mate appliances are awful.
Okay, yeah, that's a good way to put it. And Chef Made is kind of like the generic brand.
I just read the next graph. He did also buy a Keurig for $55 or $150.
How you buy an island one weekend and then Wednesday I'm going to go steal a coffee maker?
Also,
look, when you spend millions of dollars on an island, your liquid funds get tied up, but you still have to have your necessities. So of course you're going to go steal them from your local Kmart.
Yeah. By the way, he replaced the coffee machine box. It contained a basketball.
Yeah. He bought a coffee maker
because he says he didn't put the basketball in there.
Yeah.
No, he bought a coffee maker and then returned it and put a basketball inside, and that's when they started to catch on to him. Like, hey, somebody returned a basketball.
It was 3 things wrong with the story when I read it.
Yeah.
Like,
first of all, I just want to let you know that happens a lot in retail.
No, yeah, it does.
A lot.
Yeah,
for sure.
There was a. I'll have to tell you this story in a second, but the best part of the story to me is just this part right here, because I don't think any other human being would say this, but of course with a man of privilege, it's very This is him. It's very complicated, and I'd rather get into it. I will say this. The way it was handled by the Key West Police and the Monroe County Sheriff's Department was wonderful. Some of the finest people I ever dealt with were kind throughout the whole process. I feel like he talks like this, and it just feels like that. But yeah, so I had to play the happy music because most people who get arrested if I got arrested, I was just like, yo, man, just get the, stop.
But Rayvon, what'd you find interesting?
First of all, Kmart, like you said, I thought they were already in the grave. And then,
yeah, that was my thought too.
Why is Robert De Niro's long lost brother doing this? If you look at his picture.
Oh.
And the last thing is, anytime you see a story of Florida man, you know it's going to be something crazy to follow.
Yeah.
So I just Googled a Florida man, and the first thing that came up was a Florida man arrested outside Olive Garden while eating spaghetti with bare hands. So
yeah.
What they arrested him for?
I saw about that said while eating spaghetti belligerently.
Yeah.
So you say, was that like loitering, or was he just drunk?
Public intoxication.
That's what I'm wondering. If he was drunk, then yeah, that's what it would be. But
that's never how the headlines portray it.
There's actually, I was going to bring this up a few weeks ago, but I saved it. A guy created not too long ago a website called FloridaMan.com.
And there's a Twitter follower too.
And there's different categories of Florida Man of many different things, and it updates every single day of all the Florida Man stories, and it's absolutely hilarious.
When I used to do in radio, when I worked for the alternative rock station Grand Rapids. What?
Florida man shows up to hospital naked, says he's ready to go.
Yeah. Well, I took
I don't understand why it's Florida that always gets it. You can do that with any state.
Yeah. Well,
this was like a Twitter thing the past couple weeks that people have been doing.
Well, Adam Carolla started the whole bit Florida or Germany, and we'd say a story or a headline or a story, you'd have to guess whether it's Florida or Germany. When I used to do part-time radio, I do the Florida bit too. Or a man does a drive-by on a bicycle, which really happened outside of Tampa Bay. It was in Yuba City. So, but there's another weird story that happened in the news too.
Bees in the car! Bees everywhere! God, they're huge! They're ripping my flesh off!
So, this came up in the Twitter chat, and I thought we'll get to the parlay bet in a second because Ben was betting this week, right? How much did you bet, Ben, this week, last week?
Well, it was a $50 buy-in tournament, so
okay.
$50.
$50, okay. All right.
Plus 45 in gas to get out there.
Okay.
So we'll say 100.
All right. So a young Chinese woman, or Taiwanese, I cannot say. Taiwanese.
You got it right the first time.
Okay. All right.
You're good.
Was complaining about a swollen eye. She thought it was going to be just an infection, but she found 4 bees living underneath her eyelids, feasting on her tears. That's exactly what it says in the Guardian.
But the story
physically
gets much
in
weirder.
her eye.
Yeah,
much weirder. There's this celebration of death where they go and clean the graves of dead people.
Bees everywhere!
Her eye, and she just thought it was like
dirt
or something, and then just let it go. Like, how the hell do you have 4 bees go inside your eye? She goes to the doctor. The doctor looks in there. He sees legs. He pulls them out, and there's 4 living bees feeding off of her tears. Right.
So metal.
Yeah.
So metal.
That is so metal. But the small bees are known as halotactae or sweat bees. They're attracted to human.
Super, super small bees.
I've never seen these before. They're not usually aggressive and stung only if touched.
That's gross.
Yeah,
They said that if she had rubbed her eye at all, they would have stung her, and she probably would have lost her eye.
Oh, wait, you know what? That's amazing. She'd rub her eye because I would have been just like
I would have rubbed it.
Right, me too.
Doug. Yeah,
Like
Doug.
me and my eye would have been gone.
Yeah, but no, that was the other, and then the parlay bet was interesting too.
I have a joke. I'm sorry, my writers chimed in. They always say tears taste like sugar, right? So the bees were, yeah. I'll stop. I'll stop loud behind because I just crashed the whole.
I don't think tears taste like sugar.
That's the joke. Like everyone always says, like if you're happy, someone said, they're like, oh yeah, their tears taste so sweet like sugar. You've never heard that before?
Yeah, I've heard that before.
I've never heard that.
Not that way. I've heard it put many, many different ways, but I've never heard anyone say that.
Like what?
Your tears taste so sweet, but
There's
not
that.
like sugar. I've never heard someone specifically say.
It's like candy.
That's another way to put it. Yeah, there you go.
Oh my good. Okay, whatever. I crashed the show.
And Scott Tenorman
Glucose tears.
episode.
Oh, the Scott Tenorman episode.
The parlay story is pretty interesting because I have something similar, but nowhere close.
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys have placed a bet that you don't remember and won $26,000, but this gentleman did. So in Vegas, he was out drinking and he placed a bet that $100 to win $26,194.60. He was at the Planet Hollywood Sportsbook, and somebody actually gave him the money in cash. Of course, it was the people referred to the Hangover, but his title, by the way, was cracking me up. Better, Derek Burgee, not doctor, not dude, better. So he slept through all 3 games. They placed the prop
parlay
bet. Yeah. So going in the parlay bet a little bit, pro.
It's just not as simpler as points. Or I don't give the real definition, but it's like
Parlay's literally just you pick the results of 5 games instead of 1, and you have to be right on all of them to win money. That's all it is.
That's just, but all of his bets are all super weird. But it's like, man, that's one hell of a thing to just do drunk. But like, I was at the Hoedown when I was downtown at Hart Plaza years and years ago, and then I had my because I was with my sister's party and
Sure. You were at the Hoedown for that, right?
And then they dropped me off at the casino. I ended up getting just completely wasted, way further than I needed to. And I woke up and I was in a hotel of the casino, and I had ice cream and pizza on the bed, and I had $300 in my pocket. So
I feel like we've heard this story before.
I was going to say, we've heard this one.
A variation of this. No, I've heard a variation of this. There's many stories that sound the same, but they are
That's my first time hearing it.
Yeah.
I couldn't have went any better, but you know, pizza and ice cream in the bed.
Unless there was a lady next to you.
Fully clothed, too.
I was going to say, if there was a lady next to you, that's how it would have.
I mean, I almost...
See, Storm wanted to chime in.
I was just about to say that, actually. I'm like, I don't know, Ben. Waking up with pizza and ice cream, you're like...
That's a winning situation.
I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying there's a next level you can take it. That
You
would
get
make
lucky,
it
man.
better.
With food, especially, you get force-fed Chipotle.
Force-fed Chipotle? Who's force-feeding you Chipotle?
I went to Chipotle for the first time a few weeks ago, and I didn't want
You guys are into some kinky stuff.
I know.
Like,
You never seen food porn?
but what do you mean you didn't want to? Like, it's a taco.
Because I've never been to Chipotle or what's the other?
Qdoba?
Yeah.
But like, and you pride yourself on that? Like, screw those like high class Mexican places. I'm sticking with Taco Bell.
And Mexican, I would use in quotations.
Yeah, but the point is like you pride yourself on not going to those 2 places.
I would actually go to a hole in the wall Mexican restaurant.
It's such an odd thing to like stake your claim on, though.
To
Like,
be a hipster?
no, I'm not going to Chipotle or Qdoba.
It is an odd thing to be a hipster about.
Super odd.
There's a lot of restaurants. I've never went to Popeyes.
What? Popeyes is great, man.
Del Taco. Never had Del
What?
Taco.
Me neither. There's
nowhere, and even I've been to Popeyes.
There's one or there's 2 Del Tacos in this area, and they're nowhere close to me, so I get that. But
there's one closet though, right?
But like my whole point is like you seem to be making like a huge deal of it. You're
I
like,
just didn't. I mean, like,
you
I
didn't
want to go to Chipotle today.
You know what, Mike Pro's idiosyncrasies crack me up because they're truly unique. Like they're truly like if you think about it. Normally, if you take like Popeyes, there's a few in this area, so it's like okay, Del Taco, okay, I get that to a certain extent. But then they just make this. I'm not going to Chipotle. Like what?
I didn't say
because you want Dorito.
I didn't have
diarrhea.
any reason. I've never been there. So I'm by myself. I've never been to Chipotle. Let's go. I didn't even know what they had. You know what I mean? I actually got what the next person ahead of me got because I didn't know what to get.
Mike, I look at you as a trendsetter, and I'm disappointed because I always look to you for the newest trends in whatever bougie stuff that's not or non-bougie stuff that's going on.
No, I completely disagree, Roger.
Like Long John Silver's. I've never been there either.
What?
I haven't either.
I don't think I have.
All right.
Me neither.
So I guess Jamie, have you been to Long John Silver's? Jamie?
Okay.
Okay, so
I think she's dealing with her pets.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Sorry, I was muted. No, wait. The weekend that we spend making Roger watch movies, we're going to make Mike eat fast food places that he should have eaten and never had.
wait.
Why? We could go to a restaurant and get good food instead. That sounds like a terrible idea.
Important question, Jamie. Have you been to Long John Silver's?
Yes.
Okay, so Jamie and I are the only ones we're the minority
I just don't
here.
think fish and fast food
right,
together.
Dude. I totally
That's
agree.
understandable. You know what? That's understandable. Like I had the fish.
Long John Silver's hush puppies are amazing.
I was just gonna say because yesterday I went to this fish fry for work, and it was voted the best fish fry of all Metro Detroit.
Where was it?
It was at St. Anne's Church in Warren.
Okay.
So props to them. What are you giving me that look for?
No, that was my thinking face.
Oh, okay. Okay. And I got the fish combo, which was with the shrimp and fish, and it was delicious. Was it the best fish fry I ever had? Close, but their hush puppies were kind of dry. But either way,
And I don't want to be that guy, but how can you distinguish between the best and the worst fish fry? You're doing the same exact thing every time. You're frying the fish, and if you really think about it, fried fish is like the blandest of all kinds of fish. It seems kind of odd.
Your batter is.
Do you think that fries vary from place to place? Because you're doing the same thing with fries. You're putting potatoes in oil. It's the same thing.
No, I don't like fries, so I don't really
know.
I don't eat French fries.
Seasoning you use, and if your oil's clean, and what kind of oil you use, things like that. There could be vast differences in taste.
That batter is unique. You know what I mean?
Oh, exactly. Yeah, you can use beer batter. You can use like a different variations of
breadcrumbs and Old Bay seasoning.
There you go. Yeah, or even
that's,
the oil.
That's the easiest.
You guys got it down to a science.
Yeah, even to the point of the oil too. Like you can use like peanut oil or just straight up like fat, like just lard.
Truffle oil.
Yeah, truffle.
No,
Ooh.
truffle oil is so overrated. That's something that rich people do just because it's expensive.
I have no idea what that is.
No,
Truffle
fries are amazing.
There's no difference to regular fries. You could do the exact same potato, fry one in truffle oil, one in regular oil, blind taste test. Nobody would know the difference. I'm telling you.
I think Jamie.
I smell an SRD Roadshow off-air segment.
I know we have to do some video.
Because we can do blind taste tests while the movies Roger has never seen are on in the background.
No, we can make this. We're gonna make this a Facebook Live, a weekly thing, and we have been. We've been getting consistent with it. I would bring in some food, and I'll do this. We'll bring a Pepsi challenge in.
Truffle.
And besides, we have wings in it.
Can you remember? Do you guys remember the Pepsi challenge from like? What was it now? 25 years ago?
25 years ago. Do you guys remember the Pepsi challenge?
Yeah.
You're asking if I remember something when I was 1, Roger, so no. Sorry, buddy.
You know what's funny about you, Patrick, what cracks me up before we get to the horse, is that you do listen to a lot of dated music and references from the past, but there's certain things that I'll go, I think I'll toss it up and see if it gets me. Like, no.
Yeah, pop culture-wise, no, you can't. I have no idea anything pop culture-wise from that long ago.
Yeah, well, the Pepsi challenge was these commercials, a series of ads, where they would put Pepsi and then the new Coke at the time, or Coke, and people would test it, and then go, I like this, and they reveal it, it's Pepsi. But the entire time.
They've done that. They did that when I was alive too, though.
Yeah, but it was
clearly you were 1.
Yeah.
No, but but that was later than 25 years ago. They did that in the early to mid 2000s too.
Which is so stupid. Unless you're gonna play it live.
Well, no, exactly.
It's not like you're going to say, show the first 28 people who said, this shit tastes like garbage.
Yeah, right?
Well, you know what's funny about that, though? Because I remember doing this at Co-America Park. And, you could go to different, Pepsi booths and just basically get free pop for 25 minutes because no one checked. No one was like, wait, you've been here before. You can't do this again. So you'd personally be like, I think that was Coke, and then they'd be like, "No, it was Pepsi." So you like Pepsi now, don't you? You'd be like, I guess I do.
I do.
And then I'd go to the next one. And then go to the next one. And then go to the next one.
I
got free pop for the Tigers game doing it.
You know what? Because you're saving yourself $8.
Yes.
There you go. I totally would get that. So
yes. I was a smart, how old was I? Like 12? There you go. I was a smart, like 12-year-old. I think that's when that happened. But let's play horse.
All right, let's play horse. There's
because the playoffs start today.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. And it's the
and
Google their little game app. They had a mishap last night because I got an update. It said Clippers Warriors starting in 15 minutes. I was like, what? Hurried up and finished what I was doing. I didn't know it was starting today. Okay. Rushed through what I was doing, only to find out it's on tomorrow. And I got we're sorry note.
All right, so you want me to read the questions, or I got them pulled up. So
well, I was gonna say, Pap wants to make a couple audibles, so I think we should.
I mean, that's all right.
No, let's do the audibles. They're fine.
Yeah, I like the audible idea.
You're Peyton Manning at the line of scrimmage. You read the defense. You're like, no. Gonna go this way.
Are we doing that for E though? Is that what we're doing? Fab check show meeting.
Well, no, it's hard to audible when we're here, and I gotta So let's start with H. Just start with H, Roger.
And we're looking at them.
Yeah. All right. So, what was your reaction to Kyle Korver's quote-unquote privilege article he wrote for the Players Tribune? Rayvon, go ahead.
I thought it was pretty dope. Like, I felt like it was pretty honest. It was a refreshing take. I don't think it was a PR move. Like, he didn't have to do this, but I like the fact that he said he's going to try to educate himself on the history of racism in America. He's going to listen. He's going to get out of the way when he needs to. He's going to hold his peers accountable. I like that he recognized that NBA is a brotherhood. He stood, by his teammate Thabo, even though initially he pretty much placed blame on Thabo for the incident that happened in New York City, where Thabo was arrested. His initial thought was, what's Thabo doing out at the club on a back-to-back? And so I like the fact that it was introspective. He checked himself. He checked whatever implicit bias he might have. And he was just pretty much calling it out like, hey, we all got to do better as a society. Like, I like the Utah Jazz owner coming out courtside and just addressing what happened with the fan and Russell Westbrook. So I feel like him being a part of the Jazz and that incident happening it's definitely made me gain more respect for him as a player. And
for sure.
Shout out to Kyle Korver.
Yeah, it was definitely a powerful piece, and I guess they had after the Russell thing, they had a meeting that following morning, and other players shared other situations that they've had that they hadn't shared before, and then the Jazz president and owner was there, and they all they had a real deep moment for it. And he doesn't need to do this,
right?
You know what I mean? Nobody asked him to do this, and it's not even like he needed to do this, but it was in a way he almost didn't need to do this because there's nobody else speaking like this. And I know people hear stories and it's like, oh, that doesn't happen, or they don't really believe other sides of situations, but for him to speak about it and just show his two different sides of his thinking of it, it was nice, and I enjoyed it.
He's a good writer.
Yeah, and you know what? The only thing I got to say about it really was in terms of, you're right, Pro. He didn't have to say this, and he didn't have to come out and address it. And I saw what the show with Rachel Nichols did a really good job also bringing it up, and saw the players give him some praise for that. So, yeah, I definitely think that it was almost needed but not said. You know what I mean? Like, in terms of Utah, too, Utah's got a long way to go to clean up Salt Lake City because they have a reputation for, let's just say, less than favorable relations in that area. And they've had to fight that for a long time. And they've done a really good job of players who come there, make it their own, but they still have some ways to go. So
yeah, he said that it hit home when they had that little team meeting. And they were just talking about the Russ thing, and other people saying a couple weeks ago, blah blah blah. And it was really enlightening. All right, this is real. We need to do better. So
yeah, I mean it's when I read it, it does it. It makes you reflect. It makes you think. Right? Obviously, there's something that one you would think that in this day and age that something like that wouldn't have to be said, but it had to be said.
Right.
And I think that's what was the most shocking thing about it. And I think a lot of people, even if they have a friend, like if Roger, got into trouble, it'd be like, well, what was Roger doing there? And that is a very callous reaction. Because the first reaction is if you care about that person, you'd say, hey, well, was Roger doing okay? Or, is Mike doing okay? Or, Rayvon doing okay? So like that reading that piece, and I think I'm a pretty open individual anyways, but reading that piece, it just makes you more cognizant of it and makes you actually think before you have those instant reactions. So I liked it. I thought it was a very good, well orchestrated comment by Kyle Korver, because it's something that sadly still needs to be said and reflected on today. Because if you read the comment section of that article or the Twitter comments from people, it was just, that was the more enlightening thing for me. Because a lot of people were like, I'm a middle-aged white guy and I never thought this way before. I'm like, how can you be that ignorant? But again, it's like, no, that level of ignorance definitely still exists, because we see it, because it's being used in a political climate right now. So, like, just all of it, because that conversation needs to happen. And I commend Kyle Korver for starting that conversation, because he is a person who is a minority in the NBA, let's be honest, but he's not a minority in the country. So having someone who's around people of different backgrounds and still saying, hey, I have a responsibility to get my thoughts out and further this conversation, I commend him for it.
Yeah. One last thing I wanted to say was I like the fact that he distinguished like the two types of like discrimination, like the overt type and the covert type. He said the covert type was the most dangerous, the subtle and quiet kind.
Yeah.
The kind that it's not loud and doesn't get people banned from arenas. I like the fact that he was honest. Like, I don't know what the solution is, but I'm willing to learn and educate myself. Like, he didn't just come on and say, this is what we need to do, X, Y, and Z. He's like, hey, I'm willing to learn, but we all got to do it. It's by committee.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Tribune and Kyle Korver. It was a beautiful piece.
And Derek Jeter for starting the Players Tribune.
Yeah.
So good on him.
Now I like it even more.
Yeah, Derek Jeter was the one who started the Players Tribune. So, because Derek Jeter always likes to control his message.
Oh yeah, definitely. If he can control his message no matter what, or even control how he's viewed. So,
give Derek Jeter a gift basket for the Players Tribune.
Can you tell me, Big Magic Johnson, what did he do?
Magic Johnson.
Well, he's a business person.
He's got AIDS.
Oh my God!
You never heard that before?
Hey, when was that interview done?
This was one around the time that Donald Sterling get in trouble for those racist comments.
Right.
What has he done? Can you tell me, Big Magic Johnson?
I
what
love
has he
that.
done?
I hear that inside my head.
Well, he's a business person.
He's got AIDS.
Jesus Lord. Donald Sterling.
Yeah,
I'm so glad you're not a part of the NBA anymore.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
Okay.
No.
Yeah,
this is a genuine reaction.
Ben, check out the whole interview.
Yeah,
the whole interview
is priceless.
Yeah, it's one of the most interesting
There's
pieces
so
of audio.
many drops that you can make from
Oh,
that.
speaking of which, I watched that Kobe Shaq thing that you sent. Amazing. That was an amazing 45 minutes.
That's amazing. A lot of backpedaling. The most backpedaling I've ever seen in my life. What is Magic? Speaking of Magic, what does Magic stepping down as president indicate?
Read two. Cough, cough.
Oh, okay. Cough. Okay. Lakers let Luke Walton go days after Magic abruptly resigned from his post as president.
The next day.
The next day after basketball celebration. Is it necessary for the Lakers to get back on track, or did they take another step back? And by the way, Jeannie Buss's Twitter picture, you guys seen that?
Oh, she's a mermaid.
That's no. What?
Oh yeah.
She
looks
she's
like a
holding
mermaid.
two
No, you're
basketballs.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I didn't expect that.
That's from 1998.
Well, we talking about this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, she did a.
She kind of looks like the Joker. I said that earlier, and
that was a cover. It was a cover of like ESPN magazine or something in 1998. Which is actually another interesting piece.
All right, who's going to lead this off? Because this is actually I should be playing some better music for this.
Who's going to lead this off? I think there's only one answer to that, Roger. No.
Who's the Laker fan?
Who's the Laker fan?
Yeah, bro. Yeah, go ahead, man. Wait. Hold on. Sorry.
You going to put the Titanic song on or something?
No. Go ahead.
I mean, Luke Walton, yes, he is a good coach, but he wasn't a coach for this team.
No, for LeBron. Sorry.
But they were looking to let him go before LeBron even got there, so that's null and void of what you just said.
I don't think so, but I disagree with that. Go ahead. With you.
What do you mean?
They didn't have any intention
because who got there first? Magic or LeBron? Magic, right? Okay, so when Magic first got hired, Jeannie Buss said, "Hey, you can't fire Luke Walton." So what does that mean? He already wanted to fire Luke Walton, so that's null and void.
No, but also because Magic Johnson's a control freak and does things without thinking about it, a.k.a. scouting for his own team.
All right,
go ahead.
Whatever. But either way, I didn't really like Luke Walton anyways. So there's other better coaches that will fit this team and make this team to the next level. So. That's why I didn't want to have this conversation, because I knew we can't have an actual conversation without you guys.
It was literally as soon as LeBron James got to L.A., everybody knew that he was on the clock. You knew it. And they were not successful.
But everyone didn't know that Magic Johnson was on the clock.
You're right, and
that was surprising.
Big Magic Johnson. It was surprising. It was surprising at the time, but if you think about it, it wasn't really surprising. And
wait, what? Magic stepping down wasn't surprising?
Did you hear what I just said?
How is it not surprising regardless of it? Like, that makes no sense. It was definitely surprising.
Oh, because how long did his coaching career last? How long did his TV show last? How long did the other
how long did his basketball career last? So that makes your argument null and void.
I just wish I could just have a point without you interrupting. If you hear what I say, he quit his coaching career after he had a 5-game losing streak that he backed out early. He had a TV show, a 2-year deal. He wasn't showing up to meetings. He wasn't doing show prep, and he quit the show early. The same thing with the NBA Game Time. It shows up more and more that he doesn't. He's not fully committed to doing something, and he quits often. He's still an amazing basketball player, but at the same time, if you look at his track history of different jobs, he has quit early. So what are you talking about? Yes, at the time it was surprising, but if you look at his track history, he's done it numerous times.
So?
I think the way in which he quit was surprising.
Yes, but if I get it though, he's so tied in with the organization. You know what I mean? Of course, if he had the conversation, actually thought about it, he probably would stay a little bit longer. But at the same time, it would be dumb. Luke Walton was going to get fired either way. All right. So how bad would have looked if they fire Luke Walton and then he quits a couple of days later? You know what I mean? And either way, it's going to look weird.
I'll agree with you, Pro, on this. And absolutely, Magic Johnson has a track record of being half-ass about everything he's done. The reason why the Magic Hour never worked was, you're correct, he didn't take it seriously enough, and he didn't realize how much work it would be. But here's the thing about Magic Johnson. You talk about, like, image with Derek Jeter. Speaking of that, Magic has done such a great PR job about keeping things under wrap that, I was talking with Rayvon this morning about this. I didn't know he had a son at all. He's never been mentioned until that documentary came out a few years ago.
EJ.
Never. Yeah, EJ did not know he existed. Did you guys ever remember him having mentioned his son?
I think I saw him on the red carpet once.
Yeah,
I knew because
it wasn't from Cookie.
His original interview of him talking about his AIDS, he was worried about his son and because his wife is pregnant. He's talking about his son.
Yeah, but after that though, it was kind of like a certain period of time where he was never mentioned. Like, you know what I mean? Like, usually kids are kind of mentioned out, but I never see Magic talk about. But you were saying, Pro, is that the way.
He needed to be an ambassador like Dominique Wilkins is to the Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's an ambassador. He hypes things up, tries to get deals done without being in the office and stuff like that.
Because he said he didn't realize how much work this was.
It was a lot of work. You know what I'm saying? Magic Johnson is not the scouting type where he's going to have 15 TVs on it. You know what I mean? He just needs to be the ambassador. At the same time, it wasn't a good match with Rob Pelinka. And I said this at the beginning. I wasn't really a fan of Rob Pelinka being it because he's an agent. Majority of the teams hate him because teams had to overpay for certain players, and he made them do it. So why would other teams want to do business with him? You know what I mean? So that wasn't really a good look. And Rob Pelinka has been talking trash about Magic the entire time. You know what I mean? Let's just say Ben misses a few shows, and when Ben's not here, every time he's not here, where's Ben? Or we have a topic, and I'm like, what's your thought, Ben? Oh, Ben's not here. How long?
So what happened last week then?
Yeah. So
what we're saying?
How long before Ben gets irritated with me saying that? You know what I mean? So yes, there was a lot of backstabbing going on, and I get it. And he wasn't happy.
I would just cry in my sleep. I wouldn't be irritated.
I just think it was weak how he went out. Like, he pretty much said, I couldn't face to tell Jeannie because that's my sister and I love her too much.
She would have talked him out of it.
Agreed. No,
well, but here's the thing, though. This is what's weird about the whole situation. The day before, they had a 3-hour meeting.
He didn't say nothing then.
He didn't say anything, but I think something had to have been said because no one just goes and thinks, yeah, like maybe a high schooler. And I'm not saying Magic Johnson is a high schooler or has a mentality of a high schooler. But a high schooler would go and wake up one day and be like, you know what? I'm not going to my part-time job. See ya. Like, I'm not doing it. But that's kind of like what Magic did, though, right? Because, like, there was a 3-hour meeting the day before, and then all of a sudden, there's a game scrum that happens every game with Luke Walton, and reporters were there, and all of a sudden he says, hey, keep the reporters here, I have to say something. Catches the PR staff off guard. Catches everyone off guard, including the reporters, and he says, hey, by the way, I'm out. Like, it makes you wonder what was said in that meeting. If maybe Jeannie Buss did say, hey, look, we're going to fire you because you didn't get the deal done with Anthony Davis. Maybe that was said, maybe it wasn't. But, like, something had to have been said the day before for him to go and and just lay on a sword and just be like, yeah, I'm going to go in and I'm going to quit being the president of basketball operations of one of the most historic franchises in the NBA.
There's
a couple other layers.
I think that you... sorry to interrupt, I was just saying, though, you're absolutely right, though. I think there's a point to it where I think that something was said and it just triggered him and got him pissed off, and then
there was
there.
So it's been I've never trashed my own team, so but it's already been reported for a while, like back channel stories of like
basketball operations.
Either
like
Magic
that,
or Rob Pelinka was going to be losing or gaining some power one way or another this coming off season. You know what I mean? And then ESPN is working on a piece about Magic Johnson's inappropriate work behavior, which you can Google it. There is a piece coming out, and he said that's not the reason why.
Tell me, Big Magic Johnson, what has he done?
But
that's Rob Pelinka, by the way.
Actual audio from Robert Pelinka.
It wasn't a match made in heaven to begin with. You know what I mean? So
I think he needs to leave LA for a little while and just kind of lay low, perhaps, and just go back to what he was doing before.
Because here's the thing: Magic likes to be Magic Johnson. As the president of the Lakers, you have to be Irvin Johnson. There is no Magic. You know what I mean? So,
and he's said himself too.
Yeah, and it's hard. And if you look at him, yes, he has lived a long life after his situation. You know what I mean? If you're not happy, that man has every right to do something to make himself happy. 100%.
All I'm gonna say, hindsight is 20/20.
Always.
That's it.
All right, let's move on.
That's all I got.
To our fair or foul of Anthony Davis's last game attire. So Anthony Davis was wearing the shirts.
Looney Tunes.
Well, that's all, folks. So I'm not sure if this is. I think it's a little bit of an overreaction on my part. That's just my opinion about it. But Ben,
no, that's the correct opinion.
Yeah, Ben, fair or foul?
Well, when I saw it on Twitter, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, was everyone making a big deal about it? Because I didn't notice it at first.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden I noticed it. One, I think it's... You can wear whatever you want. I'm going to say that just flat out. If you want... Because LeBron James did this subtle T-shirt message thing against the Warriors, 3 years ago?
Yeah.
So, people do this, right? They take subtle shots. Do I think it's a little unprofessional? Sure. Am I going to get, tied up and be like, oh my God, Anthony Davis, how dare you? No, because again, you can wear what you want.
to me.
But hey, you can wear what you want, right?
Right.
I don't like his defense of it.
Yeah, I was gonna.
Someone said basically, well, my mommy picked out my clothes and then I wore it.
I had no control.
I had no control over what I wore. Okay, so then what is it? Are you making a statement or what? Be a man, stand up, and if you say, yeah, I don't want to be back with this organization anymore, fine. If you're going to do something like that, own it. If you make that conscious decision to wear that shirt, be like, yep, I want out. That's why I wanted to get it. And you can even say, that's why we tried to get a deal done in the season. You didn't have to say where, even though people know it's L.A.
And almost he blamed his players, too. The players put it in there or something like that, implying that they did something with it.
Well, right. And that's what I'm saying. It's just someone else picked out my clothes. Okay.
But there's also a deeper issue that not a single person has noticed. Did anybody notice that he was wearing a purse?
To quote The Hangover, it is a satchel. Indiana Jones wears one.
I have a satchel.
I don't.
You wear a fanny pack. They're the exact same thing. You just tie it around your waist. That's the only difference.
Whoa. All right, because I have a messenger bag, and this is a purse. That is a purse.
That is a purse.
He had no control. Wait.
Go back and look at it now.
Guys, but is that, like, who cares? This is like a stupid social norm thing. Is it not super convenient to have a bag to carry around all your stuff? NBA players break stuff like that all the time.
I don't see you wearing a purse, though.
Because I don't need that. I have a wallet and a phone. That's all I have.
I mean,
but doesn't it make sense?
Grabbed his man bag last year.
That is true. LeBron had a man bag.
But that's a purse.
Look, if I had that much money, hell yeah, I'd have a purse, carry around all my money with me all the time. People give me crap. I grab some money out of the purse and I toss it to them. Who gives a crap?
You know what? No, you know what all Papchuk has? All Papchuk needs right now is this. It's all.
I'm heading out, and all I'm taking with me is my phone, wallet, keys. Yeah, phone, wallet, keys. Just those three things, please. Need my phone, wallet, keys.
Anthony Davis had no control over the purse either.
That's just
because someone else picks out his clothes.
Exactly.
So maybe
the purse hanging up. If any purse is in the locker room,
maybe the outfit was for his girlfriend, and he accidentally wore his girlfriend's outfit. Is that what we're saying?
She's breaking up with him.
All right, so Rayvon,
man, babe, that's a great T-shirt. That's a great purse.
I'm gonna say fair the criticism. I mean, like, own it. Like Ben said, like, if you're gonna wear a shirt like that, I picked it, and don't try to hide and be like I had no control over it.
Because at the same time, okay, let's just say technically he does have a stylist, and a lot of athletes do, and they do have game attire that's picked out for them. But if you're trying to tell me that you didn't look at that and think what everybody else thought and then still put that shit on, regardless, maybe somebody did put it in there for him to wear. But you can't say that you didn't know what that meant.
This isn't even like the biggest faux pas of anybody in a long time. Ezekiel Elliott's walking around wearing midriff shirts. Like, athletes do this. It doesn't matter to me. Who cares? He can do what he
wants. He's not wearing a midriff saying F the Cowboys, though.
No, he was wearing a midriff saying something about kneeling. Like, who cares?
Midriffs have been in since like the 70s, man.
For women.
Yeah. But that's my whole point. Athletes do this all the time. Let them do it. They're always going to do
Wait a
it.
minute. Hulk Hogan always wore a midriff.
Hulk Hogan wasn't a real person.
Wait, Hulk Hogan didn't wear midriffs?
No, his shirt went down to his waist, and then he would rip it off to show how strong he was and ready to fight.
Jamie, before we move on, do you have any fair or foul?
I think that you see this all the time. They're always wearing their T-shirts that could deliver a message. But yeah, he should have owned the message. Like, if somebody's dressing you and you're just putting it on whatever it says, not paying any attention to it, how old are you? Like, 3-year-olds, stop doing that. Grow up, be a man, own your position.
All right, there we go. All right, so we move on to S. Andre Drummond was reported seen at a strip club Friday night, just 2 days before only the second playoff series of his career. This comes after an odd post-game interview in which Andre Drummond used Reggie Jackson as a translator. Does this bother you, or does this not matter? I know it bothered Jennifer Hammond and a lot of people in the Detroit media. I saw that on Twitter.
Many people.
So a lot of people got mad and gave kudos to Johnny Kane from Fox Sports Detroit for the way he handled it. But
hey guys, I just want to.
So go ahead. Let's say we want to start off with this. Papchuk, go ahead.
Anyone? Oh, well, that's no fun.
Why is that no fun? You don't
because I'm asking you guys the question the way I'm looking.
You don't
at
like
it from
you don't
here.
like being a table setter.
Here's what I have. This is my take.
No one cares.
Okay.
No one cares, but Roger, you just said everybody in the media just was all up in arms about this.
Well, I meant about that part. That part,
okay, but I'm talking about the two together. It's an attitude thing.
Okay,
like,
in terms of the
does it bother you?
No, because you know what? Look, the bottom line is this: there is a certain expectation. I feel like sometimes it's out there that athletes have to perform at a quote unquote professional level all the time with the media. Yet here they are when they are they supposed to be serious all the time? And they're supposed to have some sort of demeanor. Like during that post game, I watched the post game. And they're in a moment of celebration. But Andre Drummond has been always known as a little bit immature. But the fact is that people are giving the people are giving him crap for going to a strip club. If he's going out there and playing the game against Milwaukee, what does it matter? If he's not showing up, that's a different story altogether. But as far as his demeanor is concerned, and Reggie Jackson, those guys, They've done this all season long, and the media gets so upset about it. Fans get upset about it. But, I mean, they win in the postseason, going in badly because of Blake Griffin's injury, which I think it had a large to do with it. But if they're going to play the game and they're showing up, how does it matter? Are they hurting anybody?
Themselves, the city that wants playoff wins.
I mean, on the flip side,
the city wanted tanking. That's a lie.
Yeah.
But
Go.
Look on the flip side.
Thank you.
So Odell Beckham Jr., Sterling Sharp, they were down there partying in Miami one day, and then they didn't really show up the game, and they got bounced, and they've been trashing him ever since then. So people can't say that you should have more concentration or whatever. But at the end of the day, look, they had lamb chops on special for $14.99 and $3 drinks at the strip club. How can you knock a man for trying to go and get some lamb chops for the cheap price and $3 drinks? Regardless of the establishment, I'll go for $14.99.
Well, yeah, you'd go. You're not on a max NBA contract.
So you're not allowed at the strip club?
I mean, you can buy pork chops from the store.
But
wait a minute.
It's different how they fry them there.
This is what really gets me about this, and I don't think that anybody's bringing it up. If he was out at a bar or a club, it wouldn't have made news. It's because he was at a...
No. 100% disagree. It is literally only news because the last time they were in the playoffs, they got swept, and they played like shit. And because they have history of... What? What you got, Ben?
The Pistons didn't play like shit against the Cavs 3 years ago.
Okay. Regardless, my point. You're right.
Those losses were
That's getting away from my point, though.
One at a time. One at a time.
I'm making my point. Let me finish my point. If it had been anything but a strip club, people would have looked it over, not said anything, maybe would have gotten a small comment because of the interview translator. But it's because he went to a strip club and people looked down on strip clubs so much, and he was doing something that people consider trashy and immature and all these things. That's why it made news. If he had gone to a club, because you can't tell me everybody else on that team has been sitting home quietly contemplating the game since the season ended. The only reason it made news is because it's not socially
don't care about it
to go to a strip club.
Okay, Jamie, you're 100% wrong because it doesn't matter what he was doing. The fact is people are upset that he was out drinking 2 days before a playoff series. He's supposed to be a leader. It doesn't matter what other people are doing. People have unrealistic expectations about Andre Drummond. And I don't even agree. No, Jamie, what were you just saying? Let me finish. I do not even believe that this is a big deal, but I 100% disagree. It has nothing to do with the fact that it was a strip club. It's the fact that Andre Drummond was seen anywhere not concentrating on basketball.
But it would be a bigger deal if it was like the night before. You know
right?
what I mean? Hours before.
Yeah.
But don't worry about what the hell I'm doing 2 days before.
Right? Like, you can sleep a hangover off all day, and then you got the whole next day if it really comes down to it.
The thing is, I'll let you chime in, Rayvon, is that I think that I think Jamie is right, and Mike is right as well, to a certain because
lamb chops?
Lamb chops, yeah. Well, lamb chops are good. No, but like what Papachek was saying.
I like lamb.
Jamie's point is correct in the sense that in the morality speaking, people will make a big deal about strip clubs, which I don't understand why. That's the morality police right there is bullshit. That's a total bullshit, hypocritical thing. There's a certain part of it, Mike. I'm sorry.
We're in an age where strip clubs are the most acceptable they've ever been. We're in an age where people understand that women have power and can do what they want with their bodies. I could not disagree with that even more. Some people.
But the prevailing thing, we have a very large and vocal Christian
that I've never heard in my I've never heard. I don't hear people denouncing strip clubs in this day and age because they're not a big deal anymore. We're missing the whole point.
I'm going to have to link you to a bunch of articles.
I could link you to a bunch of articles too. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't. That part, all that being said, though, how a player gets into the mindset is his own business, and if he's not harming an animal or a human, and he's going out and having himself a good time, what does it matter? Rayvon, go ahead.
Thank you, and that's pretty much what I was going to say. Like C.J. McCollum spoke about this in an interview. It's like we shouldn't really even care what they do off the court if it's not affecting anybody. Like they're athletes. Like I really only care about what they do on the court, and that's his business. If he wants to go to an adult titty bar after hours, like I don't have to police every move he makes. It's unrealistic to think athletes can't come out the house every once in a while to get a drink. Like if we say they can wear what they want to wear, they can go wherever they want to go. It's the same thing. They're all adults.
You spend that max contract money wherever you want.
Yeah.
Now if he doesn't show up tomorrow, then yes, it was blame it on the titties.
You know what? Look, as long
as that's just it. That's the only reason that this is a story is because Andre Drummond has been known to have effort issues in the past. So if he was a different player, for instance, if this was Blake Griffin, this wouldn't be a story. Because Blake Griffin has a history of being a much better player than Andre. Andre has demons that he has to exercise, and that's the reason why people care.
I just think there's some people who just need to wake up in the morning and be bothered by something.
Yeah, as
they
long as
have to be bothered by this.
Look, as long as
there's a certain people who have to.
Exactly. No, like certain people have to be bothered by it, but also look.
Ladies and gentlemen of the GED class of 1999, I have one piece of advice for you. No matter what a stripper tells you, there's no sex in the champagne room. None.
There we go. That's the only piece of advice I have.
Well, but here's the thing, right? It's a non-story because it's 2 days away from their game. Like, because here's the thing. We're talking about what if he has a performance issue in game one? What if? Then this story is then relevant. Like, that's why this is a non-issue right now.
Now, did he walk out trashed? Just sloppy, just falling over.
Wait, why would that matter regardless?
Even if he did, who cares?
Yeah.
Because I'm saying, that's why this story is not a big deal.
Yeah.
It's not the night before a game. It's 2 nights before a game. He literally has a recovery day. So, people getting up in arms about this 2 days away from a game, whatever. Because here's the thing. Even if he does come out in Milwaukee on Sunday at 2:30, or was it 5:30? Either way.
7.
If he goes out and has a bad game, I'm not even blaming it on what he did 2 days ago. I'm just going to say he had a bad game.
Plays for the Pistons.
I'm pretty sure at some point during the season he went to the club. That didn't stop him from leading the league in rebounds.
He probably did, but again, it was 2 days away from the start of a series. It wasn't the night before. It wasn't like, Varsity Blues where they hung out at the strip club literally all night and then they came out, and played a very terrible game.
Not Charles Barkley drinking in the locker room at halftime.
Exactly. It's none of that. That's why it doesn't matter where he went, whether it was a club, whether it was a strip club, whether it was a disco. I don't care. This is the biggest non-story ever. It's just people trying to drum up stuff so that they have something to talk about before the game tips off on Sunday.
And speaking of the games,
that's what it is.
And speaking of the games, we go right into E as we end horse with what series you guys looking forward to. So it breaks out like this. So at 5:00 today, Raptors take on the Orlando Magic, the streaking Orlando Magic, which came in one of the hottest teams in the NBA. Also today at 2:30, the 76ers take on the surprise of, I think in the NBA, I would agree, Brooklyn Nets, the 6th seed, and the 4 to 5 seed, and the Pistons kick off tomorrow with 4 to 5 seed. The Celtics take on the Pacers. That's at 1 o'clock tomorrow. The Pistons start at 7 p.m. in the night game. And then over in the Western Conference, that starts up today at 8 o'clock. The Golden State Warriors take on the Clippers. And then today at 10:30, the later game, Denver and San Antonio. For tomorrow's games, it is the 3rd seed Trailblazers take on the Oklahoma City Thunder at 3:30, game 1. And 9:30 is the Rockets and Jazz. So I'll kick it off really quick. I think my favorite series, honestly, because I've been watching a lot of Oklahoma City Thunder basketball lately, which I thought I'd never say that, but Thunder, Trailblazers, I think was going to be my favorite series. I got my upset, if you will. I think the Thunder will beat the Trailblazers and move on. And my favorite series in the East, honestly, is Raptors and Magic, because Magic come in pretty hot, but this is the first time Toronto, with all the acquisitions and everything, and to be able to see what they're going to do in the postseason, that's also a serious matchup. What about you, Papchek?
Well, OG Anunoby is out for the next 2 weeks for the Raptors, so my long shot bold prediction is still,
in play,
feasible.
Okay.
I mean, it's not feasible, but that's anyway.
With
I think it's a weird question. What your favorite series is going to be? That's not going to be in the first round. I'm interested to see how Houston's actually going to handle things, because I dismissed them at the beginning of the year. They looked like a completely different team than last year. I thought they looked like crap, and then they lost Melo, and then everything started to come together. James Harden was even better this year than he was last year. And the only reason it's not getting talked about is because Giannis is also having a better year than he did last year. I'm excited for playoff basketball. I'm excited to see the Pistons play, and really, I just want to see. I want to see the NBA show that it has some parity, so people can drop the whole. Oh, they're like first round never matters in the NBA. I think we're going to see a lot of series that are going to go 6 or 7 games, and that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think out west, I'm looking forward to that OKC Portland Trail Blazers matchup. There's been a lot of tension between Damian Lillard and Russell Westbrook. They have a really friendly, competitive rival going on. But I really wish Victor Oladipo was playing. I would have picked the Pacers. I would have gave them a real good shot to beat Boston. But out east, I like Brooklyn in the 76ers series.
Yeah, that's a good series. I think I like the Nets. The Nets have really surprised me, honestly.
Yeah.
About in terms of D'Angelo Russell's game. So, Ben, what about you?
The series I'm looking forward to?
Yeah.
Well, I am looking forward to Brooklyn 76ers. I'm glad Rayvon pointed that out.
Oh, yeah, I just want to say Embiid might not be playing in Game 1.
Right.
Which makes it even more interesting, so I agree. Wow. But anyway, continue.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I want to see what the Pistons can do, but I do think, like I said a couple of days ago on social media, I think it's going to be a sweep. I don't think the Pistons really have a fighting chance, especially with Blake being hurt, because we saw what this team's like without him down the stretch in games that mattered. So I'm not expecting anything from Detroit, but I like the 76ers-Nets series. The Boston Pacers series is going to be interesting just because it was interesting last year when they met. Grant Oladipo is not playing, but we thought on the Roadshow that Oladipo would be a detriment to the Pacers, and it hasn't. That injury hasn't really been a detriment.
It did. They started to tail off at the end of the season. They were firmly in the 3 seed, and then they fell all the way to the 5 seed, which was the lowest they could conceivably fall.
Well, right, but we thought it would be more immediate than the tail off.
Yeah.
So
we're going to lose 15 straight.
But also, having said that, though, on the West, I am looking forward to OKC and the Blazers just to see what happens there.
Man, I got to question all you saying that, because the Trailblazers are notoriously, out of every NBA team, they are the worst playoff team.
Right.
Yeah, they are a worst
They're favorite,
playoff team, but if you look at the rest of the matchups, there's nothing really
I was going to say, in the first round, there's nothing else that
you literally just
piques
said
my interest.
There's nothing in the first round you care about, and then
No, I said, actually, I disagree. I'm saying I think there's going to be a lot of good series. I think we're going to see a lot of 6-game series.
The question was, what's the series in the first round you like? And you said, there's not a series in the first round that I like. You know what I mean? But at the same time, that's the most interesting players. It would be much better if Jokic didn't shatter his leg. You know what I mean? But that's probably the most interesting one.
Nurkic, yeah.
Yeah, Nurkic. But the Spurs are going to upset the Nuggets.
And no way.
I think so too.
The Spurs are going to upset the Nuggets, but there's not really an interesting first round matchup that I really.
That's super interesting, though. But if you think that's going to happen, I don't know.
The Spurs beating any team is not surprising. It's still Greg Popovich, so it doesn't matter.
This year, it's surprising.
It doesn't really, because we thought they were dead in the water, but look at them.
No, I don't think. I think we knew they were going to make the playoffs because of Pop, but saying that they're going to make noise because of Pop. I don't think.
I got some flack for saying that San Antonio would beat Denver a couple weeks ago. I think they will.
Yeah. It's true. He did.
Because all right, yes, Popovich. You ask him during the season, what's the hardest opponent? He's like, I don't look at each team. But if he has to concentrate on one team for a week straight, I'm going to give Pop over anybody.
Do you know that they shoot the least amount of threes out of anybody in the NBA, but they're also the most efficient three-point shooting team in the NBA?
Is this Pop's last year or is it next year?
I can't remember.
Did he say?
Mm-hmm. Oh, he did.
But anyway, either way, they're all going to be good games. I'm happy the playoffs are here.
Yeah, the NHL's had some interesting series for hockey purposes, but that's horse for the week of April, whatever it is.
Mid-April.
Mid-April. And sorry, I almost sound like a radio show on Riff saying that. I'm sorry, my bad. So there's a couple different directions we can go. Of course. Congratulations to Virginia, who played. That was a really good game, by the way. I really enjoyed that game.
People don't agree with that in this room.
Okay.
And I was told that the game was boring until the last 5 minutes.
Jamie just said that.
Mm-hmm. She said that last week too, and I don't know how she was watching the same basketball game as everybody else. First half kind of sucked.
To be fair, I was the only one who enjoyed the Super Bowl because I thought it was a damn good football game, and everyone said it wasn't entertaining. It's the exact same argument.
Yeah.
You enjoyed it.
I enjoyed the Super Bowl.
But I'm just saying, like, you probably enjoyed the basketball game.
No, the first half blew. Nobody could shoot, and it was terrible. The second half, their shooters started to show up, and offense came up. That's objectively true.
Yeah.
But you can't say that, okay, the first half sucked, and she's saying only the last 5 minutes were good. How many minutes are in between that?
20.
There's 20 minutes in between?
Oh, sorry, 15. That's almost half the game.
Okay, half the game was trash. So anything into the second quarter, it was
trash is. What does that mean? It was tied at halftime.
It was
a game. All you can ask for is the game was close. When was the last time? What was the best championship game you can remember? Because this was the best one I can remember in 10 years at least.
I agree with Jamie. I mean, the last 5 minutes were interesting. It usually kind of is, but the first half didn't really do much for me.
But you can't just say that. That's not true. The last 5 games, the last 5 minutes of the last 5 years, the games weren't close.
Really? Because I just wonder there's been some game winners.
Okay, except for Villanova, they're just the championship games typically have not been that great.
Well, Gonzaga Duke came down to a buzzer beater effort with, within the last 10 years. That was.
What was that?
Because who was it? No, maybe it wasn't Gonzaga. It was,
I'm talking about Butler Duke is the best championship.
Okay,
that's 2009.
That's what I meant.
Okay.
Yeah. But also there was Kansas versus who did they have when Chalmers that
Memphis.
game went?
That was. You're talking about Kansas-Memphis?
Yeah.
That was in 2006, 2004. That
Nova
was
blowing out.
I thought that was 07.
Nova blowing out Michigan last year is the anomaly. Okay, but it's all right. The year before that, North Carolina 71-65. The year before that, 77-74. The year before that, 68-63. The year before that, 60-54. So what are you talking about? Every year it's a blowout.
Are you watching them? You're just looking at the scores.
But they've been tight games,
would
though.
Tell you if it was a blowout or not.
Because a game is only interesting or not interesting if it's a blowout or not a blowout. This is what I mean. Like, were you guys watching or were you watching the score?
Yeah, I watched the whole game, and I thought,
No, you said specifically every year has been a blowout.
No, I said every year has not been that fun, and typically the games are not that close.
Yeah, I thought the game was pretty well entertained, even though the poor shooting aside. I thought that Texas Tech, when Virginia started getting up, the ability of Texas Tech to come back in the game, I enjoyed it.
They should have been dead 3 times. They went down by 10 like 3 or 4 different times.
They should have went out in the first round. But
what?
Against what was the team? Gardner
Webb?
Yeah.
What? Yeah, they were down double digits.
Yeah.
Well,
you can't. What? What do you mean they should have been out in the first round?
I mean, they
were about to lose.
They almost lost the first round, so he can say that. Like
I never said he couldn't. I'm just saying, like, what do you mean by that? They should have lost.
They were down double digits in the NCAA.
But they were the better team, so they won. So they shouldn't have lost. They should have won, and they did.
I think you missed the whole point of like they were down double digits. You ask a team to be down double digits, more than likely they might lose that game. So
not when you're playing Gardner Webb.
Well, UMBC beat them last year. So what are you talking about? You know what I mean? So they lost to a 16 seed last year, and then they were down double digits.
And that's
to
honestly
16 seed. So
and that's the story we should be talking about too. The fact that Virginia went from like the worst loss you could possibly have to winning the whole thing.
And 86% of their points in the NCAA tournament came from returning players from last year.
And and it's weird how many. Well, not weird. They literally were the same team as last year, but with more of an offense. I do want to just add this in here. I mentioned a player that didn't exist on Virginia several times last week. I mean, I was talking about DeAndre Hunter, but I called him DeAndre Key several times. So, my bad. Sorry about that.
Shame on you.
Yeah, I was super ashamed. I literally looked right after the show. I looked and I was like, "Oh God, I'm an idiot."
It happens. No one's perfect.
Dick.
Oh my.
Yeah, but no, though.
Way too early predictions, though, with the NCAA. Who do you think is going to be a team that could go the distance next year? Out of curiosity.
There's been a lot of turnover. Like Michigan is losing a few players.
That's not set in stone yet.
Yeah, I was going to say, the thing is...
It's not set in stone, but they are putting their foot in the water, testing.
Well,
they're not gone.
But that doesn't mean as much as it
Way too
used to.
early prediction, So
Yeah.
you can be completely wrong and still.
Be fine.
I'll make a prediction. I'll make a bold prediction. I think that Nebraska under Fred Hoiberg is going to make some noise in the Big Ten next year.
Interesting.
That is an interesting take.
I don't see it, man. Nebraska's not good at anything, and they never will be. I don't get it.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say Duke's going to be very good next year. Villanova and Virginia's going to be pretty good. And Michigan State, they're going to be battling for Michigan, for the state of Michigan.
Okay. What about Gonzaga? Because they're always bad every year.
Gonzaga is the Portland Trailblazers of the NCAA. So
choke.
You guys are brutal.
I don't know. I'd put Duke as that team.
I don't know. Duke's won recently.
So is, well, not recently, but Portland's has history of winning, and then they choke, and that's what Duke's known for right now. Duke chokes a lot in big games, especially in the last 5 years.
They get past the first round, though.
Typically, but no, they lost to 2 15 seeds in a row.
You're ruining my joke.
I know, because I hate Duke. Mike Krzyzewski's a smug bastard. That smile of his, I don't know, I'm sorry. Just every time I see him, like that boyish smile, I'm like, dude, just quit your job. Go away.
And he kind of looks like the
he has
devil
a
from
sneer.
Press
That's how I feel about Isaiah
sneer.
Thomas.
He has a sneer like that.
He's got the look from. He's got a devil look from the Press Your Luck game.
Yeah.
Whammies.
No
Yeah.
whammy.
No whammies.
My God.
Oh my
All right, let's move on.
I'm never going to get rid of that image.
Any other predictions before we move on?
I mean, my team has always been Villanova, so I'm gonna ride with them no matter what.
And they're losing Jelly Fam. He said he's going to transfer.
Yeah.
Okay, so we brought this up. I guess this was a holdover topic, but this happened a few weeks ago. The Lions let go of Director of Pro Scouting Brendan Profit, so he wasn't a prophet of scouts. That's bad. Bad dad joke. Yeah. So again, I guess this is where we're.
I just don't get it. They
Okay.
did it like 3 weeks before the draft, which doesn't make sense. Like unless he's just been turning in blank sheets of paper for the past few weeks, and you're upset. I just don't get fired your pro scout a few weeks prior to. So that means he's done a shitty job up until this point, unless he's done something that we don't know.
Or just they like somebody underneath him that's doing a better job or something, so they're just like, we don't want you in charge anymore. Because like if you think about it, the dude running it is only making like a small portion of that. You have a whole team dedicated to it. So
He had to have been doing nothing then to get fired 3 weeks before a draft, and your job is to find shit for the draft.
well, maybe his contract was up like before the draft, so they just let him go a little
Probably
early.
the strip club.
Probably went to the strip club.
Oh yeah.
There you go. No, but like this is another one of those stories. I don't think it's a big deal.
It's not I just thought it was intriguing that it was just like the draft is this close. Like,
Yeah,
why?
but it's not like they haven't been working on draft prep since the beginning of the college football season last year. Every scouting department has a college division and a pro division where you scout other teams in the NFL and then you scout college players for your draft. So it's not like they weren't compiling information, and Papchek, it makes a very valid point where someone underneath maybe deserves a promotion. He can't get that promotion until you get rid of a guy. And, that could have been the case, but the Lions, even like immediately after their draft, when Bob Quinn got in Detroit, fired the entire scouting department immediately after the draft. And
You did your job. Go home.
well, no, it's just it's commonplace right around the draft. All the work's basically done. You've basically set up you've gone to pro days, you've gone to the Senior Bowl, you've done all the in-person
Visits you're allowed.
Yeah, well, you've done all that. You've done all the in-person evaluations. You've seen these guys. Now it's just the fine-tooth comb of, hey, where do we rank these guys? So having Profit being gone from the Lions organization is just, okay. Like, it happens a lot around draft time because also other organizations are going to get rid of members of their scouting department. So it's going to free him up for more job opportunities anyways. Maybe his contract was up, maybe it wasn't, but this is just a very common thing because all the groundwork's been done. Everything's been done. And so, yeah, to me, it was just like okay, it's a blip on the radar, whatever. Lions got rid of a guy in the front office. That happens
all the time,
every year.
Yeah.
So I don't see that big of a deal with it. But then again, the one thing that I think is interesting is these people still trying to float out fantasies that the Lions are going to trade out the 8th pick. It's not going to happen.
Why do you say that?
Because I think with the needs this team has, and I know I say this because when you trade out, you're going to acquire more picks.
But you're not going to get top 10, though.
Right. But I think Bob Quinn sees a. I don't think there's a generational tight end talent in this draft. I think he might see one. There's also very good defensive pass rushers, which before the Lions signed Trey Flowers, I don't want to say they got lucky, but they got very fortunate by getting Deshaun Hand to apply pressure to the quarterback last year in the 4th round. You still need to revamp that defensive line, especially if you want to rotate those guys in and out of every position. Unless a team wants to trade up for a quarterback and they're offering the moon for it, but even then, I don't see Bob Quinn trading out of a first round because he hasn't done it yet.
I think that's what you just said is why it's a possibility. It's all going to depend on who decides to take a quarterback and who doesn't in front of the Lions. Because once quarterbacks start going, they start going. You know, so we're going to assume that Kyler Murray goes out right away, right?
In the top 3.
Yeah. So and then we got the Giants right outside the top 3, right? And
at number 6.
Yeah. So we don't know if they're going to go quarterback or not. Let's say they do. They take like Drew Lock or somebody, right? Somebody weird and out of left field. So then all of a sudden somebody's like, I can go get Dwayne Haskins right now. And then let's say somebody gets because this has happened in quarterback drafts and because I feel like Daniel Jones could be that quarterback that somebody's like, I gotta have him, and if I let him get past the Lions, I'm screwed. I'm not saying it's likely, but that's the only reason why I think it's possible. Because obviously that's why it's possible. The draft, crazy stuff happens and stuff changes.
It depends on what happens at the draft. But if
the 49ers in Chicago swapped one pick for one player 2 years ago.
If they do trade, it wouldn't be any further than 10 or 11. You know what I mean?
Well, but why? Why? Wait, who's at 10 and 11 though? From what I'm hearing,
Cincinnati is 11. They might want to trade up. Let's just say there's 2 quarterbacks on the board that we thought were going to be gone, like you were just saying. All right, and they're at 8. Maybe they don't make it past that.
But those teams know that the Lions aren't taking a quarterback with that pick. The way I see it is that other teams are going to jump ahead of a team like that.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying. Okay, Cincinnati might want a quarterback. Miami might want a quarterback. Washington might want a quarterback. So there's 3 other teams that might want to trade up. But all I'm saying is, I don't think the Lions will trade back. But if they do, it's not gonna be.
Well, but here's the wild card of all that is Denver. Denver's the wild card of the trade-ups, right? Because let's say the Lions just go with a defensive end or a tight end. Buffalo, they got Josh Allen a couple of years ago, so they're not going to get a quarterback. Denver could easily slide, and maybe the Bills trade out of their spot, but they have a lot of holes in their organization. I don't think they're doing that either. So, yeah. Like I said, I don't see Bob Quinn trading out of the first round because he hasn't done it yet. He very well could, but I don't.
Those are disgusting.
You look at Michigan State's new uniforms? Yeah, the hot trash.
You know what? Put down the camera so everybody can see the camera. Those disgusting new uniforms that are coming out. Those look like.
I was going to say, walk it up to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why you take the headphones off and you walk it to them.
There you go. Yeah, those are disgusting.
I think the Lions are going to go with Hawkinson out of Iowa because he's an athletic tight end. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad pick either. Like I said, I don't think there's a generational tight end talent in this draft, but I think the Lions and him are a match made in heaven because he's similar to a Gronkowski type, and we know the Lions tried to trade for Rob Gronkowski last season. So you kind of get that guy and you have him under control, and it's going to piss the fan base off because you wasted a number 1 or a first-round pick on another tight end. And people have PSD of Eric Ebron.
I don't even think the way I value a tight end, it's similar to a running back. I think that unless you're 100% sure he's a generational talent, to use that early of a first-round pick, I just think is a misuse of assets. Because for running backs, most of the best running backs in the NFL right now were not taken in the first round. Granted, that's not 100% true. Like Saquon Barkley is looking really good, and Ezekiel Elliott, those are guys taken in the top 3. But those are the exceptions, and I think tight end is the same way right now. It's a position that you could get somebody serviceable to good, or even good to great in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round. And I don't, unless you're 100% sure that you have a generational talent, I don't think that first-round tight end is going to necessarily mean he's going to be the best tight end in the whole draft. And that's the risk that you're taking when you spend on a skill position like that.
Well, right, but also if you look at what Bob Quinn has done with that position particularly, he hasn't done anything.
Nothing,
that's one of the biggest holes on this offense is that position. I mean, granted, I know who I would take because if I was Bob Quinn, and I'm not, and this is where I always say you're lucky I'm not your GM, I would trade out and I would get the kid from UMass. I think that kid is a generational slot receiver.
For people who don't know who you're talking about?
I would have to look it up. His name's Anthony something.
Yeah, God, I can never. We had this issue last week too, where we knew his name, but we didn't.
No, it's Anthony Isabella.
Yeah, Isabella. That's what it is.
He ran a slow 40 time his first time out in the combine, and he looked fast doing it. That's how fast this guy is.
And then I'm reading right now he clocked a 4.27.
Yes, he is. I think if you have him underneath cutting out linebackers and cutting out the nickel safety, it's going to help Marvin Jones. It's going to help Kenny Golladay. And we already know that Bevel likes to have a rolling pocket because he did it with Russell Wilson a lot in Seattle. If you have that rolling pocket with Matt Stafford, who is good at rolling out of the pocket and setting his feet for a throw, and you have that guy as a check down option on every play, you can start moving the football a little bit, especially with Kerryon Johnson running out of the backfield. I think a weapon like that in the first round, to me, trading back to even 11 or 12 or 13, as we were talking about the other teams in those draft positions that need maybe a quarterback, I think that's a steal because you would get a guy very comparable to a Julian Edelman that you had in New England in that offensive system that can be a playmaker, that can get separation, that can really help solidify your offense because they're not going to do what I want them to do, which is move Theo Riddick into that position, but you have a guy that can do that in Anthony Isabella.
Yeah, I hope they don't take a tight end. You know what I mean?
I do just to see the meltdown.
And
there would be a meltdown.
We're paying Jesse James $5 million a year.
Yeah, but he's
not that
he
good.
lost his job to Vance McDonald.
But there's other tight ends you can get in the draft later, Irv Smith from Alabama, Roll Tide. You can get him later in the draft.
Maybe though
you can get him later in the first round.
Yeah, it might be in the first round later.
Irv is not going to go in the first round.
That's not what I've been seeing in mocks.
Yeah, I've
seen him around 30.
I've seen him right around 28 to 32, and if not, a take immediately in the second round.
Yeah, because they've got it's those three. It's Hawkinson, Fant, and Smith are all going right in the first round.
Yeah, and Hawkinson's damn good. He just can't block that well. He has issues blocking, but he is a good wide receiver. And we all know that out of everyone here, me and Pap are the guys that watch college football the most, other teams outside the local teams. And I watch a lot of Big Ten football. That guy was fun to watch. So was Noah Fant, but Noah Fant likes to drop the football a little bit. Yeah. So I wouldn't take Noah Fant.
The tight end from Texas A&M too. They got from the let me see, Pro Football Focus. They got Irv Smith as a 5th tight end.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. I mean, do you think it has something to do with Alabama that he's getting mocked earlier than that?
I don't know. Maybe.
I guess I don't. That'd be a great. I'd love to ask a question. Do you take, if you can't decide between two players, I'd love to ask a GM. Do you just consider
the college?
Alabama? Yeah. Does Alabama just churns out these guys?
I think honestly, based on Chris Burke's piece where he went with Matt Patricia to Alabama, that's kind of something that they outlined with Deshaun Hand because they said, "Hey, we don't know, they reached out to Saban. Saban's like, yeah, no, you guys would be getting a steal this late in the draft if you drafted him. And they did. They listened to him. And he was one of the Lions' best pass rushers on the edge. Because according to that Chris Burke article in The Athletic, again, if you don't subscribe, sorry, but if you do, read it. What did they talk about? They talked about the fundamentals of the game. And everyone from Alabama basically has good fundamentals. So that would be they do. They would go to like those SEC schools or higher level Big Ten schools because those kids play with good fundamentals and that wins you football games.
That you can go either way. Either just pick a Alabama player or a person who's done well playing against Alabama. You say they play LSU every year. A person who's a defensive lineman.
Clemson.
You know what I mean? A defensive lineman who's gotten a few sacks playing Alabama. So
you could get Hunter Renfrow in the 6th round, and he destroyed Alabama his entire career at Clemson.
Breaking news: Mike Budenhauser wins Coach of the Year.
I am shocked. I am so shocked right now. This is my shocked face.
Not that anybody cared, but since it just got released, I thought I should share.
Actually, I thought it got announced like right before the show, but that's when I saw it.
Oh, like that meme of that kid?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Whatever.
To the surprise of absolutely no one. Just like how
he deserved it, though.
Wait, hang on. What do you mean? Dwayne Casey brought the Pistons into the playoffs after 3 years of instability. He came into a situation, brought the Pistons. No,
that's a good Rob Parker, but
reigning Coach of the Year.
Come on, come on.
He gets fired.
By the way, speaking of the Pistons,
right?
real quick, it was going back and forth with Woody from Fox 2.
Woodruff?
Woodruff.
I was going to say
and
Woodpecker.
the Midnight Guy, Brandon Chapman from 97.1. We're going back and forth, and Woody called him out saying, this is why I don't follow this guy, and Chapman got...
Wait, Brian Chapman still works there?
I don't know.
No.
And I don't care.
Roger, they do syndicated radio in his old time slot.
Oh, okay. I thought it was still on the radio.
Talking about Jake Chapman?
No, Brian Chapman.
From 97.1.
Ben never heard of him.
Yeah, look at
Never
that.
heard of him.
Never heard of him.
That's how good that guy is. Never heard of him.
You're never up between 2 and 6 in the morning then, listening to the radio.
No, I'm asleep at those hours.
Yes.
Yeah. So, all right. Let's
like a
move on.
normal person.
All right, moving on. You guys still wanted to go, talk about this Russell Wilson contract update?
I think that we have plenty of time to do some baseball talk instead,
Yes.
but that's
the deadline. I mean, that was a couple weeks ago. I mean, they made it, but it's pretty stupid. It's like, hey, if you don't offer me a contract by this day, I'm not going to do it.
Give a sense of
unless so I say if they offer you $5 more million and you're asking for, it, you're going to say no. That's stupid. So it's a non-story.
I just thought the deadline was cute because. Like, what happens if they don't do it? Are you going to sit out the whole year? Okay, great. Fine.
No, he's going to play. No, he's going to play without an extension, but he's saying if we don't get one, I'm going to be a free agent. And
so he's just basically stating facts and using facts as a threat. Like, obvious, researchable facts. Like, hey, by the way, at the end of this year, Rayvon, I will be a free agent if you don't sign me. Okay.
He pulled a Klay Thompson basically.
he pulled. I love that. He pulled.
But it's pretty stupid because it's not like you're going to say no if they offer you a contract that you like.
Hey, you know what? I know at least 10 people who will say this. We'll trade you quarterbacks. You want Matthew Stafford? We'll take Russell Wilson.
I would.
We'll give you that guy.
I'll give you Stafford and a first.
I mean, if you're in Seattle, you got to love the Mariners right now because they are
killing it.
13-2, and they currently lead, or 13-3, excuse me, and they lead the majors in home runs in arguably one of the worst hitters park in the country.
And after dumping the entire team in the off season, you know what I mean? Like they made a lot of moves to try to get cheaper, younger, and I definitely wasn't expecting this. Who knows if it'll last? It is the beginning of the season. The Yankees have 1,000 people on the IL.
I hate that.
All right, well, and it's so stupid. In baseball, there's a lot of things going on with baseball right now that I'm really pissed off about.
Do you see that they blocked Baseball America from doing?
That's exactly what I was going to get to.
Do it. No, I'm not even going to talk about it. Bring it up.
No,
go ahead. What are you talking about? You said no when he said bring it up. You said no. I was like, oh.
No, I'm glad. No, I said I'm glad you did. I said I'm glad you brought that up.
I'm just reacting to what you said. I was like, what?
No, but
we'll get Ric Flair chopped in a second.
I was going to say.
He starts off his sentences with no.
Yeah, no. Shut up. Let me do my thing. Let me do this. Thank you. All right. So the whole video controversy is interesting because they are now allowing to show minor league videos. Like Baseball America make it a simple thing that just was out there, and why they're not posting. Baseball America posted this, and simply, you can no longer find prospects of the minor league baseball games on BaseballAmerica.com, nor on Baseball America's YouTube channel. That is because minor league baseball demanded Baseball America to remove them all, and they kept it very straightforward. So Baseball America has taken down all videos from official MLIB games, both on our site and YouTube. We saw batting practice videos before MILB games, as well as action from Arizona Fall League and spring training. But due to the demands, we have stopped posting videos of action from their games. The choice is not one we would prefer to take, but is one that we want to explain so readers and viewers can understand we're no longer posting videos. And I think it stems from the fact, and there's a couple theories out there. The new agreement for social media was announced that best practices to post during and after minor league games. But they're adamant that this memo will not attempt to prevent or significantly limit teams from posting highlights or social media feeds, which is bullshit. But essentially that Major League Advanced Media, which has the rights, sells the package, which allows fans to raise full rights to the games. So this is money. I think it's money tied in too. It says teams can post highlights and other videos from Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram without any concern that they're going to draw the ear of the video's right shareholder. So a lot of people think that they're just doing this because people are speaking more about minor league baseball getting more money, and that the more exposure they get, the more likely they'll get the money. This kind of dwindles it a little bit.
I don't know. I mean, if I'm paying for a service and you're also giving some of these my services for free to other people, it is going to kind of bother me. And why am I paying for it? I want to have exclusive views of certain things, and I don't think it's going to hurt the fact of minor league players getting more money anyway, because they're already negotiating doing that because their CBA is up next year, and that's one of the main things they're talking about, raising all their salaries by 50%. So I don't think that's going to hurt. I just think they're just trying to just close it down a little bit. You know what I mean? Just like how ESPN's detail at first it was kind of free, and then paying for it. Now that you can't see it at all.
Well, but isn't that on the content provider to do that themselves, to create something worth paying for? Like, that's not my problem as the consumer if you don't have enough exclusive content. This is so stupid. And minor league players are going to try to raise their salaries, but the MLBPA is terrible at that, and I don't see that happening. The owners are definitely not going to want to raise any of the wages of their minor league players. But they have no interest. They've come out and said it. But this is stupid because maybe it's because we live in Detroit and I paid more attention to minor leagues as the Tigers have dwindled and start to be terrible. But why would you ever take away any exposure from something that is struggling so much to make any money whatsoever? Like, why would you take exposure away?
But I don't think you need marketing to get people to follow minor league baseball.
But if you
that's an interest somebody has inside their body.
But as somebody like me, if it's super difficult, I'm going to give up. Like, if it takes me an hour to find what I'm looking for on a specific prospect or more, like, it's not worth it. I'm not getting enough out of it. And why would you, like, and granted,
if you're a real fan, you'll pay the $5 and be quiet. Simple. It's just that simple. If you want to pay for it. Everything else.
But why?
I want Netflix for free. Can I have it?
Yeah, just
for 30 days if you sign up with a new email.
Or just find someone else's password. That's what I do.
But here's the thing is that they're complaining about viewership and fans of baseball dwindling. So when you are losing fans and you are not maintaining the amount of fans you want, and you want to grow the game, cutting off access does the opposite of that.
I
kind of
agree with that.
Not to cut you, but I kind of think that if we cut off the free stuff, maybe we'll get more people to pay for it, and then maybe we can do more. Because if I'm getting it for free, I'm getting certain things for free, then why would I need to pay for it?
Hang on, you just said you wanted Netflix for free.
I do. I mean,
Netflix, I think, has a more appeal than a niche market such as minor league baseball, right? Because here's the thing, right? Yeah, part of what you said is true. If you have something inside of you that says, I want to follow minor league baseball, that's true. Like, yeah, you'll pay for it. But then there's the casual viewer like Pap, who the major league team is struggling, so you're kind of like, well, what's coming up in the pipeline? you're going to have those type of people. But then you're going to have general people, which I will consider myself a part of, who just wants to kind of peek in and be like, oh, like Parker Meadows last night hitting an inside the park home run in West Michigan.
Inside the Parker.
Like, that's kind of cool, but like, I'm never actively always going to check in on the Whitecaps. I'm not actively going to check in on the Seawolves out in Erie. I'm not going to do that. I'm just not. But if there's a site like Baseball America or Sporting News or just ESPN for that matter, just general sites that will do something on their Twitter feed or anything like that before they come this viral sensation like the Pitching Ninja did, which his content's incredible. It helps grow the game in that way for people such as myself, who is very, very casual about minor league baseball or even like the G League. Not a lot of people knew that their championship game was on last night on ESPNU.
I didn't know.
Exactly. Like, there's stuff like that's why the free content, as Jamie said, because it's a good point, it just helps get eyeballs on it. Why would you then turn and put that behind a paywall when that's going to be a deterrent? A lot of people do that right now with newspapers anyways. They're upset that they can't read a free newspaper because it's a paywall. It's the same thing. It's going to turn them off from going to your site, so it's a catch-22.
Well, it kind of just sounds like it's just a money move. Like, hey,
and it is.
Maybe we can just get more money if we just cut off the free stuff. It's a gamble. It might going to push some people away, but at the same time, it might bring more money.
Well, here's the thing that here's why I kind of don't understand that at all. When Forbes just released earlier this week teams' league values, so you look at the top 5 teams that made baseball profits, and okay, so you know the usual suspects with Boston, New York, San Francisco, the Red Sox and the Cubs being, or the Yankees, Dodgers, Red Sox, Cubs, and Giants being the top 5 with the Mets.
How are the Giants still one of the top?
They base it off of.
This is the odd year where they possibly win.
Well, they started off 3-8.
It's driven by ticket, sponsor, and local cable deals. But here's the thing that blows me up about the money aspect, which is why I disagree with you.
Interesting.
The average baseball team is now worth $1.78 billion. That's 8% more than a year ago. So and this is the 22nd year that Forbes has done this list. And over that span, the average team has increased at 11% compound annual rate growth. Over the same span, NBA and the NFL have increased by 13 and 12%. So you're talking like a team here, the White Sox.
It's DTE calling. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the White Sox, the bottom 5, by the way, go as follows. It goes Oakland, Cincinnati, Royals, Rays, and Marlins. And Marlins, I mean, they're drawing 4,000, if that. If we're being completely generous, and no one cares about the Marlins down there. But the Cardinals, who are right in the middle of the road, media market-wise, not that high of a market. There they are in the middle of the pack there. So Pavchek, dust off your shoulders for the Cardinals there. But
yeah, but they don't need to be worth anything. They're still better than everybody else.
It's just a money
and
move.
they're funded by beer.
Nobody's going to agree with it. Yes, it does sound stupid. Yes, people don't like to have to pay for anything. But at the same time, if you want to make more money, you got to try to gamble on certain situations. This might lose, or they might win. You know what I mean?
But here's the thing, though. Just devil's advocate, right? Going back to the general viewer, because last year was the first year I actually, outside of going to West Michigan, because I have friends and family in Grand Rapids. It's a fun thing to do to see the Whitecaps. But last year, for the first time ever, I wanted to see what Kristen Stewart was all about. So I was like, hey, let's go to a couple Medhead games. I want to see what this kid's like. So I actually wanted to go down, went to Toledo, saw a couple of games. But here's something that, like, let's say over the next course of the last 2 weeks of April, you're starting to see these videos for free without a paywall, right?
Yeah.
But like, that would then pique my interest, right, to see one of these prospects, which then puts more money because I'm buying a ticket, I'm buying food at the stadium. Maybe if I become enamored with said player, I will buy merchandise. Wouldn't that also then, like, bring more money in? Like, can't the free videos and the viral stuff bring me in to make me enticed to go to a ballpark? Like, that's what I mean. Like, I do see it as not a power grab, a money grab for that reason, because you're stunting the growth of your own product and your own game for no reason other than profit.
And not to mention, too, you look at it this way, Ben, and I saw a stat this week that was fascinating. that ties into baseball. Esports is the largest growing varsity sport in high school, and
it is.
The MLB has completely been blind to the fact that this is something that's the trend. And lately at work, I've been seeing this. I don't know about you guys, but I've been seeing some esports jerseys. What are you laughing about, bro? Throw me off, man.
Nothing.
He just shared something.
I can't see it because I'm not even logged in.
I'm trying to pull it up now.
All right. Anyways, but that baseball should be on concern. If you're going to make your game more accessible, you should do every single outlet to make it out there, make it more fun. Versus, and Rayvon had a look. What I missed?
He shared an article. It's
I don't know.
Is it the blowjob one?
Yeah, it is. The Chinese blowjob machine.
Yeah, we'll end the show with that. But
oh my god.
Yeah, but no, it's Pro can't get enough of it.
I was gonna say we've killed Pro.
No, but honestly, it is concerning to me for baseball to be that concerned about and Rob Manfield has done a terrible job of navigating some of these big falls. He's become very arrogant. I mean, he's even said about the Atlantic League being a experimental thing. Well, what about the players over there? Well, they're not our players, so why do I care?
Right.
In so many words. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but
I think I get what you're saying, Ben. Like you're saying, like in general, the demand for this isn't that great by and large. So why not just make it free to entice people instead of trying to, exclusively monetize it? Whereas the Netflix example, everybody loves Netflix already. So
everybody loves movies.
Well, movies, shows,
the platform,
viewing on their own schedule, which is why we appreciate listeners of Sports Radio Detroit because it's Detroit radio on your schedule.
So I definitely get what you're saying.
I mean, that's why I see moves like this and I'm just baffled by it. Like I am. I don't understand what baseball is trying to do because baseball nationally is not successful. Baseball regionally is very successful. Like these regional sports networks now that Disney has propriety over because they had that deal with Fox last month. Those are very profitable, and that's why Disney's going to spin them off for money because they can. It's a quick way to get a couple $1 million, and Chris Ilitch could possibly buy Fox Sports Detroit and make it Tigers, whatever. So that's what I mean. Like to help the game grow back nationally, and I'm not going to say it's going to become America's pastime because I think
those days are long gone.
Yeah, those days are definitely long gone, but it will help rekindle the spirit that finally shows up in the postseason. Because in the postseason, everyone's still interested.
Yeah.
But I think to draw that interest out from September now to August, and then maybe August to July after the trade deadline and whatnot. I don't know why you would stunt your own growth that way. It just it doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't at all. And go ahead.
Before we get there, I wanted to give the Tigers an update. We are 8-5, tied for first in the division. We have the next three pitchers lined up is Tyson Ross, Jordan Zimmerman, and Matthew Boyd over the next three games.
Yeah, and I do want to say that I continue to absolutely be disgusted with the way that the Tigers are handling Daniel Norris.
Why?
They just skipped him in the rotation again. I just don't understand how you can not keep this guy on a regular schedule. And I hated that they skipped him yesterday.
They had to though. I mean, I don't blame them.
Already somebody.
He's going to miss, but he's going to miss another spot in the rotation. I don't care if he looks good. I don't care if any. I don't because you have to get him innings. You have to see what you have with him. I don't care if they
he's
win.
He's not good. That's my point. He got hit hard when he was
he's
relief.
And he still hasn't gotten a chance to start. If you're going to start him, you got to do it like delaying it longer and longer. He hasn't played regularly in over a year and a half. You got to start somewhere.
You got to start somewhere, but if he hasn't played regularly, you can't be mad at him for him not playing regularly.
Because they keep putting it off. Okay, but I wanted to start yesterday.
Okay, but there's other people already in a regular rotation. So why mess up this dude's rotation because a game got canceled? If he's not in the regular rotation, we'll just fit him back in.
He's not going to be in the regular rotation. Matt Moore. He's going to be in the regular rotation because Matt Moore is injured. My point is, you need to get him started because he hasn't pitched regularly in a year and a half.
And the Eager Beaver is the one that collapses the dam.
Or the Eager Beaver is the one that gets a jump start on his development and can come back and be stronger than ever. Because Daniel Norris, for innings at a time, looks incredible still.
I think he's better suited out of the bullpen. That's just me. I think
he'll get his time, but. I'm not. I do want to see what we have in him, but I also don't want to throw up other people's rotations and stuff like that. I could understand if he's regularly playing every so-and-so days, and then they skipped him, now he's got to wait an additional 5 days. But they'll get him in. You get in where you fit in. Don't mess everybody else up because you want to fit him in. Simple as that.
They moved other people around to make it work.
If the game wasn't canceled, he would have played yesterday. So it's not like they just said, "Hey, F you." Somebody else is.
Yeah, they juggled the rest of the rotation around after that happened, so he got pushed back even farther.
I think he just hasn't shown enough to me to if they have to skip him around, do it, because if the Tigers are going to, we know the Tigers are not going to be in to win.
Gardenhire's been.
That's why I don't care if he's terrible. You need to see it in action.
Bro, there's 182 games, 62 games. We'll see him.
Maybe
we'll see him.
But we need to see him right now because
you need to see
the Tigers need to see him right now because it's been 2 years since he's done anything. You need to figure out right now if it's something you want going forward. You got to figure out as soon as possible. You have so many young pitchers waiting to move up. If Daniel Norris is not going to use a roster spot successfully, get him out of here. But by delaying that, that's an extra start. You got to wait before you can bring up one of your younger guys, which I hate.
They're not going to bring up. I think they're going to not bring up anybody young for a while because the way that's developing right now in Erie with Matt Manning, who there's been debate about how fast he was throwing because of the new radar gun in Erie right now, so that's also debatable. But they was talking about 95. Casey Mize is overwhelming hitters in Lakeland. It'll just be a matter of time before he gets up to Erie. But I think that the Tigers right now, with they have with Daniel Norris, and Daniel Trump has pitched surprisingly well, and I admit it. I was surprised with that so far. But right now, throw him out there one more, see what he has. But I don't mind that. Honestly, I don't mind it. If they're going to be trying to be quote unquote competitive to put that aura out there. But
here's the thing with Norris, his role with the Tigers, and they've said this pretty clearly now, is that his role with the team currently, even though yes, Fulmer's hurt and he has that flexibility to be a starter.
It's Matt Moore is also hurt. He is the starter right now, filling in for them.
Okay, still, they see him as a middle reliever. Like that's what the organization sees him as.
But they haven't explicitly said that. They're saying that's how they're going to use him right now because he's been injured for so long.
Right.
They're trying to work him into it, and they're finally ready to start working him into the rotation, and then they skip him. I understand it's only 5 days and it's not a big deal. It's
I know, but what I'm with that plan, because we know that plan is, been discussed already with the Tigers. If he misses another start, if he misses 2 starts in a row, then I would start being upset.
He's gotten some relief work. You know what I mean? So
I know, but that's 1 to 2 innings, and it's only been in emergencies. He gets put in the worst positions.
He's gotten 3 innings.
You're right. He got 3 innings when Matt Moore got injured,
and then he got
left out for an inning too long.
2 and a third for another one, and he gave up 3 earned runs.
But also,
the 2 and the third one was when he got left out too long. That's when long relief is weird when you're not expecting.
Yeah, I mean it is. It's very weird because it's not a constant thing, right? But also, to Roger's point, he has gotten hit around, even in spring training. He was getting hit a couple of times.
No, go ahead.
Today or yesterday, when they're not playing, you can go into the bowels of Target Field and work on.
You said bowels.
Well, yeah. Oh, the doldrums, the dungeon of Target Field, whatever. The insides of Target Field. You can refine those mechanics and maybe still get better. And maybe even not saying necessarily pitch a simulated game, but get close to it.
But my whole point is he's been doing this on and off for a year and a half. There's nothing else he can do except pitch in a real live game and see what happens.
It's still early, man. We're only.
It's still early, but
games in. It's not that serious.
They have so many. Their pitching staff is so loaded in the minor leagues. I'm not in terms of they need to figure out what they're doing with these guys soon. They only have this year for a couple different tiers of guys. They have so many guys that are right at the end of their development. They got to figure out where they're going.
And the question is, would you put your finger in
Roger, their AAA rotation is
garbage.
That's what I mean, because they have so many people. They need to figure out what they're doing with those guys and get them out so they can get the actual guys that are going to do something better competition.
I'm talking about in terms of the 40-man roster. I completely agree with you. Like right now, they have to figure out what they're going to do with Kyle Funkhauser.
Yeah, Funkhauser's one of the big ones. They need to figure out where he's at.
Ragnar, as well as on the 40-man roster. There is a couple guys. No, that if you bring it that context, then you're fine. But
Reiniger's a guy that's not much longer for this.
Oh
world.
no, he's not longer for this world. And they started cleaning it out a little bit. But let's talk about the Chinese blowout machine before we get out of here, because Mike could not stop talking about it.
I was just
giggling about it.
I was secretly sending the message to each member during the show just so I can get a chuckle.
All right, and I do want to just say
what
I didn't notice it till 30 minutes after. So just if you were watching, you just see me look at him and we both burst out laughing because I didn't notice it till way after the fact.
So for you guys to just pop it open. Too.
So all right, Jamie, did you read the article?
I didn't.
Yeah, I read the article. I suppose it serves its purpose. I'm just hurt that I didn't get the message from Mike. He didn't want to hear me giggle. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
that's an expensive blowjob. First of all,
did it say how much it costs?
The machine is like
$6,000.
Yeah,
but okay,
it's not for personal use. It's not like I mean, I'm sure some people will. But the purpose of it was to help in a fertility clinic.
But it's like an investment if that's the way you're using it. If you want, where do you value an okay blowjob then, Rayvon? Isn't that what the question we're asking? Because once you find that value, you see how many times you're going to get it, and then you calculate,
Well,
how much is too much.
I'm afraid of being
23 cents for a blowjob.
I'm afraid of it being like a Chinese finger trap. You know what I mean? You just get in there and now you're stuck.
You know what I want to do, though?
The curtain drops.
They literally grab you by the balls.
Yeah. Well, I want to do a study. I want to put that in a machine somewhere in like a city, because I saw that Americans are saying Americans are having less sex than they ever had before. I want to put it in a city. Like, you know what you do? You do a control experiment. You put a blowjob machine. You put a blowjob machine in an area like, I don't know, like you put it in
a metropolitan area, very crowded streets.
Branson, Missouri. No, you put it in a crowded area. No, you put it in a crowded area, and I want to see the crime rate, how it affects the crime rate and stress levels. Do it for 3 months. Yeah, like you do it, like there we go. That's a good idea too, Jamie. You do it in an area like that, and then see the crime level. How many people are all of a sudden like, hey, life's not so bad, and like see that kind of like
people
level.
Are opening doors for each other. Hey, have a good day.
Yeah, and then you do it to like a normal city and do a scientific experiment. How the blowjob machine would change lives. Because I know they're doing the extract sperm for people who can't jerk off, but
they should have it on every corner, like those bikes downtown.
Oh yeah, little bike rental.
Yeah.
This blowjob machine brought to you by HAP.
Blue Cross and Blue Shield doesn't want you to have blue balls.
Perfect marketing commercial right there.
The thought and just.
But people get paid to do that in massage parlors all the time. It's not the best job, but somebody's got to do it.
Yeah, people put out porta potties.
I'm just saying it wouldn't get clean. It wouldn't get clean.
Hey, those jobs pay well. Like garbage men get paid well. I'm just saying.
If your oven has a self-cleaning mode, I'm pretty sure you can get a self-cleaning mode for that blowjob.
But no, to Jamie's point though.
You don't know. I'm so disgusted.
No, but like to Jamie's point though, like really, like if they had that machine and like let's say you were doing like a fertility test, like you and your wife or whatever, like want to have kids and you don't know, so you're really gonna look at that machine and be like, yeah, I'm gonna stick it in that. No, I'm gonna be like, I don't know the other 50 guys that have been here the last 3 days. Like, no,
exactly.
Nobody's
like I said, disgusted.
It did say hand sanitizer was lube though.
Well, that's good.
That cleans it up.
Well, that makes it all better. I'm just gonna use it all the time.
I'm all for that case. Oh man, all right. So,
oh my god,
we ended the show in a very strange way, but I kind of like the way we ended. So, check us out on.
Would you call it a happy ending, Roger?
I would call it. All right, we all went dad joke here. So, check us out.
That was a good one.
That was a really good one.
That was a good one.
That was the first good dad joke of the day.
Yeah,
that's the Roadshow title: a happy ending with a question mark.
Yeah. All right. So, by the way, just an show announcement too. Starting in May, we will be on our own feed. So I'm gonna. So I made that announcement. I didn't tell any of you guys, but I wanted to have your actual element of surprise. So, starting in May, look for the SRD Roadshow feed on iTunes and under all our broadcast channels and what have you. So I'll be back next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Jamie, thank you for joining us as always. We appreciate it. And enjoy your happy ending.
Oh God.
Oh goodness. That's the way I'm gonna end it. Right there.
LeBron James.